What it do? As always, let's check volume. Mhm. Oh yeah, we're good. Oh, we lit. All right, all. Appreciate you guys. For those that will be watching live, and for those that will be catching a playback, appreciate you. Appreciate you greatly. So it's been a bit of a semi rough week. Just kind of get used to this new schedule with this new night job. Um, yeah, still putting a lot on myself. But it's kind of necessary. Want to get things done faster. For me to do things faster, I'm going to have to work harder. That goes for just about anything, like if you want something done, you're gonna have to work for it. If you want something done faster, you may have to work harder to get it done faster. But this brought up the term, and thank El Shinobi for this inspiration for this term. He had a comment in one of my last videos in my community video. Um, but he inspired the comment grind responsibly, or he inspired me to say grind responsibly. Um, it's very important that even though you're grinding, having uh, time to yourself, having the right environment in place, and taking also adequate rest, which is different from time to yourself. Because time to yourself, you're awake for that, and adequate rest is, of course, you're sleeping. So, but having time to yourself to enjoy some of the things that you do, your environment, just life in general. I don't plan on doing this night job thing forever, but for right now, let's get it in, right? But yeah, a video of for that should be coming out on Monday, by the way. So enjoy it when it does come out. First, you start off an image. This one's pretty cool. I like this. I thought this was Thor for a second or something like that. This guy has like a spear. Excuse me. Just woke up from a nap, guys. So sorry about that. Wanted to make sure that I can actually make it through this stream here. Yeah, this is really kind of cool. You see this guy here in the foreground battling these monsters here. It looks like there's three of them, and they're over a city. And you can see like homes and stuff like that, or a town or something like that. So that's kind of cool. Definitely downloading that one right there. And this guy has quite a few other pet photos too. So Su Jin, Shu Jian, Jian. This is really cool right here. It's like a robot like busting out there. Huh. I like this because like my house is uh Den of the Lone Wolf, and these like del Lobo de Solitario or something like that. It's like Den of the Lone Wolf is what that means. Um, I forget, or no, Garrido. I forgot, man. I have it on my like on one of the apps on my phone here. But the name for my home is Den of the Lone Wolf, and this would be like a cool piece to actually have. So download that one. Huh? This is kind of cool. Hmm. A kangaroo there. Got a goat. Oh, this one's nice. Just clicking through these fast. Freaking pug butcher here. Ha! Pug Vader or pug? Yeah, a pug. Is this like a Jedi Knight? This is from that uh the other Jedi game where they're not Jedi. It's a little bit different, but they have yellow sabers. I don't know. Forgot what game that was. This is real cool. I like these. I like pieces like this. I like the colors too. I think all this is hand painted too. Whoa. It's just like the same scene, but well, this is kind of cool. This reminds me of Destiny. I never played the game. I have it, but I never played it. Me wasting money as usual. Sorry, I'm really digging this guy's artwork. Let's put this somewhere here. We'll just put that for safekeeping later. But let's get down to it. So, one of the things I actually implemented was using a helper function to make this all happen here, to where if the time and of the date, or if the current time is anywhere between it's after, what is it, after, I can show you better, I can tell you. Let's bring our window into view here. Log out of that. Get rid of that one. We don't need that. And where's the other thing? Okay, there we go. Refresh this because responsive is nice, but sometimes it freaking craps out. We're gonna do handlebars helpers, and all right. So I wanted to enable dark mode after a certain time. I like the dark mode feature, and I like what it can actually do for us, or in terms of look and aesthetic, and also just usability. I might make this. I might make this where it's like an option where it pulls this information probably from the database or something like that. Maybe we'll see, or at least gets rendered in the template and probably pulls from the database. Because I'm thinking I could do a lot more with these helper functions than I guess normal, if you will. But in terms of just making the rendering of templates a little bit more dynamic. So let's go to clear server view, and then well, let's actually, we gotta go to layouts because we're actually looking at our template here, or looking at something that's happening in the head section of our template. And we'll see here, I just have a function here that says enable dark mode, right? So I just call this function, this helper function, and all it does is says, hey, listen, if the current hour, so I do, I define my HTML variable here because I want to actually put some actual HTML in there, right? And it says let current time now date, and then get the current hour from that, which is current time dot get hours. I can actually, no, I don't think I can extend this. It's always best to make it a variable, and then once it's a variable, what did I do? Why did I? All right, cool. It's best to make it an object and then reference that object and run functions across it. Richard Dixon, what up, man? What's going on, bro? Appreciate you joining in at the new time for the stream. So really appreciate that. Sorry for the change in time, guys. I just had to make some drastic changes. I did make a video about it today in terms of what I'm doing and this state of my the current state of my finances and how shit-tastic they are right now, and it requires me to do some stuff like this. Essentially, I can fix all this, and I can fix the more immediate stuff. I can fix that within the next 3 months, pretty much. So sacrifices must be made, and I apologize that it had to be you, Doug. It had to be y'all. But I hope you guys can, still get some type of useful or use out of these streams even at the new time. And as always, you guys can watch it at any time. All right, so yeah, we did some helper functions, and I defined those helper functions in this helper.js file here under my view folder. With this one, I just do enable dark mode. This one here, I do new date, so then I get the actual date or the current date, whatever it is, current date and time. All right, it'll be a while before I'm done with this topic, and I do want to code some stuff, but hey, man, that would be actually cool. We can get you on here for sure. Richard Dixon says, if you don't mind, I need your help when you are done with the topic. All right, cool. Yeah, bro, that's definitely, definitely, you can do that for sure. I do want to get a little bit more done on this stream, but at the same time, this stream is really for you guys. Let's Richard, let me get. Hey, if you want to start like a JS fiddle or something like that, Rich, um, let's get going with that, and then I can get you the StreamYard link in there. So share that JS fiddle when you can, and then I can get to it after I'm done with this helper function section here, and kind of catching you guys up on what I've done. And also, by the way, guys, I don't work on these. I don't. Well, now I don't really get to work on this. A lot, outside of the stream. So a lot of stuff I do on the stream. I am not trying to milk this in any way, shape, or form. But to be very honest, I don't work on this much outside the stream. I try to be honest in terms of the time that I put into my work for my day job, and I want to make sure that I don't misuse any time or anything like that. What I may do is actually get a laptop that I can actually take with me to my night job and put some Linux on there and work with it that way. Actually, I think I might have a laptop for that. So I was just thinking about that today, that maybe I can bring a laptop to work with me to my night job, and then I can actually do a couple of things while I'm there, just so I can maximize my time. So yeah, but yeah, I don't work on this much outside of the stream. So I'm sorry for the slow progress, but I'm hoping that this slow progress teaches you guys one or two things. Could be wishful thinking. We'll see. All right, so current hour and then get hours. So essentially, this will get me the numerical value of the hours. So that'll be from, I believe it's 0 to 23, or so 0 hours to 2300 hours. Bet. I swear, Richard Dixon got to be from like Florida or something like that. I'm sure it's not a Florida term, but like bet is such like a Florida thing to say to me. All right, cool, bro. Yeah, and we'll go at it with that. So if current hour is greater than or equal to 6, meaning that it is 6 p.m. No, greater than or equal to 6, and current hour is less than or equal to 20. Right. So 6, that'll be 6 greater than 6. Yeah, 6. I guess it starts at 1. No, 20. Because 20 should be return HTML. Oh, okay. So this is pretty much. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out what the hell I was thinking. This is trying to determine if it's dark mode or not. So this right there, this conditional, essentially that should equal all the times when not to use dark mode, meaning return HTML, which would be nothing, or renders nothing there, or a line of nothing there. And we can actually cut that down. It's just like, if not, do a not on that instead. I forgot why I wanted that like this, but this is fine. But yeah, if it is 6 a.m. or if it's between 6 a.m. and 8 p.m., then you do day mode, or do non-dark mode. Else do dark mode. So puts that in, renders it, and then makes everything dark mode. That's pretty much it. So right here, enable dark mode, and then with handlebars, if you wanted the result of this function, if you want it to be non-text, we need this to actually and we want to render HTML or spit out valid HTML and not text. We do triple mustaches, triple handlebars there. LOL, yeah, I told you before. I'm in Orlando, originally from Jacksonville. I think it's Florida lingo though. Yeah. Hey man, it's like when you said bet, I'm like, that sounds familiar. Oh my God, bro. You probably did, man. I forget. I apologize, man. But yeah, that's like definitely Florida lingo. All right. But yeah, we have our helper that gets registered. Now it does automatic dark mode for us. As before, we figured out what we needed to do here in terms of getting all of these things going. All right, so let's jump into it. So we were working on forms, modify list. I was working on this here or this portion of it. So essentially it'll load the page and I can't press escape to get out of it or anything like that. I want it to be where it's like if you're missing a necessary list, that this will pop up and then you can put in those list items. So for instance, I could put in secondary institution. I was having a problem with this too, where like it wouldn't show these things here properly, which was like really pissing me off. And I was able to figure that out as well, and I can actually show you guys that. And then entry. So I actually, with the new, I remember I was saying this in a previous stream, but with the select two and the new library, when you press enter, like, and press enter, it just stays within the actual object itself or within the text field itself. So you can enter more. I really do like that functionality. I'm glad this works properly here in their newer version because the version I had that came with the template was a lot older or was older. I'm not sure how much though. I don't remember the difference. But I did get the new version of the Select 2 library. If I choose submit, what it'll do is it'll actually make my list. So this list already here, I have it pre-filled and I want that to always be the same and be hard coded. And you'd have to get this from the back end. And then all the other lists are dynamic. So you actually put those in. And then from here, once you press this button, it should bring up an entry form, just like we just used, so we can actually make changes and things like that. What I may do. Mm, I may take out like the delete here and not have these actually have a delete button next to them and not even have an entry or not even have a edit button to them. So I'm just thinking about that. But what we do want to work on is getting getting this list to the back end and pushing that data into the database. So we'll be working a little bit on the endpoints and stuff like that. All right. So if I do an inspect on this, let's see here, client height of undefined. Yeah, that's not a big deal. We're not worried about that. I do want to do this here. So view public, not public. Yes, fat form. All right, and then modified list body. So this is one of the things I was explaining earlier. When you're actually doing this, so let's show the issue that I was having. And this is a little bit different in the documentation because you didn't have to do this before, or maybe it just happens and because I was doing this after the fact, calling a select to item after the form is rendered. Um, Before you noticed that this was split down the middle, and then I had an entry form on this side, and I got rid of that. And I think what was happening is that one call, when that is called, it made everything else work properly too in terms of these forms showing up. So the problem I was having is this right here. It's like, why are these forms not showing up properly? So this is getting on my nerves. What happens is that you actually have to do this uses jQuery. So you have to actually call this and say tags true. And once this is actually called, so I have my swal fire or my sweet alert fire, which is this here. So if the lists are coming back where there's an issue or anything like that, then I wanted to fire off all of this here and then actually take in my list that I want. But for these forms to, or for these items to show up properly, you have to execute this code here, which actually goes through these select items and then what's it called? Makes them function properly. All right, so let's refresh now. So now this code works. All the actual select buttons here, or the select fields actually work properly as they're intended with the library. So as I was saying, right now I submit and doesn't go anywhere. It just puts all this stuff and renders everything for me. Um, so I actually have there we go. I actually have it to where it generates these list items, the HTML. So this is the HTML for each one of these list items here. And then I just fill in the blank where necessary. And this is going to use an array of list objects. So in this case, I have my function that is the list items template, right? And everything just gets ran through this function, right? But I loop through the array that I provide this generate list items function. So I loop through that with a for loop. As I said in um, previous streams, I'm using for loops a lot more now. And they're just working out a lot better than using for each. I do use for each for some things, but I'm finding out where it's like for each is not working the way I expect them to or expect it to, and I can get the desired functionality with a for loop. And it's not that much harder anyhow. But here, I have the target div, and that target div, I just keep on pushing in items into that, which essentially is this right here, this div right here, which is actually named current list div, right? So once that's done, it pushes everything in there and returns and makes everything work here properly, or puts everything and generates this whole view for us here. Otherwise, it doesn't have anything in that div, and I've taken everything out via the template itself. So really, it loads all this with nothing in there. So for instance, if I go here, get rid of this for any reason or what have you, there's nothing that's loaded here. So when I actually submit a list, what I do is the very first list, I actually make this an array, and it expects a couple things here. My backend should expect a list name, a list long name, and a list. The list long name I just recently added, and that will be like something like this here, primary account type, right? And secondary account type, so on and so forth. And that's a more descriptive name that can have spaces in it, so on and so forth. And then the actual list name is the short name, which is what we use to query with. And that would be like account type primary, or yeah, right here, account type primary, or account type secondary, or institution, or entry type. Those are the short list names. Essentially, they're just variables written in camel case. All right. So list, and the list itself is going to be an array. So in this case, these are just default. This will be passed from the back end, and the front end should have all of this in here, or the front end will allow us to enter everything else dynamically in terms of our secondary account types and things like that. The only thing I would like is that to where I can actually copy and paste a list, but I can't like copy and paste a list of uh, you know um, strings with a comma or comma separated values to where it looks like this here. So that's one thing I do not like. Wish that was not better, but I wish that worked the way I expected or wanted to. And something I never used before, but swal close. So when I actually generate this list, I actually close it once I run this function. So shows this list and everything like that, puts everything in the container, and then close this actual this modal here, this light box, this window here. All right, cool. All right, so what I want is I want to pass this to our backend. How are we going to do that? Well, first, let's see what this produces. Generate list items HTML. So it's going to generate the list items, but I'm going to need all div select elements. Let's see here, array of list objects. All right, so I'm going to need that. Yeah, I'm going to need that. So essentially, I have an array of JSON objects that I can actually I have an array, an array of JSON objects, and I'm going to pass those array of JSON objects to the back end. My backend should take an array and then parse it accordingly. So even if it's one item or how many ever items, it will parse that and push it in there, push it into the database. So if I do submit list, I should have that in the submit list. Generate list items, we'll keep that separate. That shouldn't do anything. All divs dot push elements for each. As you can see here, what I'm doing is the all div select elements. I have the containing div for the actual list here, or for this actual item, or the pop-up box here, and that has an ID. So list container, and that's the ID. And I do a query selector all for every item, every select element in there. And then in that select element, I'll cycle through those, and then I'll actually look at the options in that, and then actually make it or form it into a JSON object for myself. So all div select elements, I'm going to look at that, and then I'm going to process that. It's going to give me a node list, I believe. Yeah, it should be a node list. And in that node list, I should be able to do whatever I need to in terms of cycling through that and getting through all the different options in the select fields. So in this case, all div select elements dot for each, and then I'll define a new object every time. So this is my base object, and then I'm going to, the list name will be ID or e.id, and then the list long name, it'll be the inner HTML, and then I get rid of title here, and then replace that with a colon, or replace the colon with a blank. So I'm just actually taking, and guys, if it sounds like I'm trying to understand what I actually wrote, I am, because sometimes I just be forgetting. I'm not gonna lie. You see so much code. You got so much code. It's just like you don't remember all this crap, man. So you have to just like go through it. This is why documentation is important too. But I wrote this is pretty self-explanatory what it does and just steps through it. But I'm looking through this here, and get element ID, e.id title. Okay, so yeah, I actually have these, each one of these elements here, or the title for each one of these, I have an actual ID on it. And, I have an ID for that. And where is it? Here we go, should be in here. Input, and we can see that, where's the ID? No, that one's static. That's why it doesn't have what I'm thinking it does. There we go. So the ID is account type secondary, and then there we go. There's the title. So account type secondary title. I just added a title. I just added an ID to the actual title item here, just so I can actually reference it and then be a little bit more dynamic. So if I add more items, I just have to make sure it's always the same in terms of adding title to it, because it's going to take that title, or it's going to take the value of the inner it's going to take that value here, and then take the inner HTML and then replace that, the colons and everything else like that in there. So, and do whatever it needs to. With this one here, for the primary title, that one I hard code in there. So that won't come from the front end at all. And this is just a disabled input field. So like where it says change CLI, I don't have to worry about that, because all my titles should look like this. If it doesn't, it'll just screw up. And I guess I could put like a check in there for something like that too. And that's stuff that you can do later on. All right. And then from there, I'll cycle through all the options, get all the option values, and that'll generate my inner list here, or generate this list and push that into the list portion of this here. And there you go. All right, cool. So now that that's explained, sorry for the crappy explanation, guys. Array of list items, and it's going to generate the list items. I'll probably get rid of this where it generates the list items in this fashion. It should do an Axios call to the backend where it pushes the list items to the backend and then reads the list items from the backend as opposed to generating it from here. So it should generate that from the backend itself. And I'll pass it an array of list objects here. All right, so what I want to do is console log here. I'll let that generate, and that's fine. And I want to see how this looks, right? So we can actually see the structure of the data, making sure that it's going to work with our backend, or we make sure our backend works with it. All right, and then console. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, cool. So we submitted. Generates an array for us. This array is account type primary is the first item because that's hard coded. And then we have our list items here, or our other list items. And so we have our list, and then account type secondary account type. So this is our data structure here. It's going to be an array. That array is going to be of JSON objects, or an array of JSON objects. And then in those JSON objects, we'll have these three items here, or these three keys with their values. All right, cool. So we'll take that. Let's go into Postman here. Okay, which screen is it going to open up on? Okay. All right, so I got this on my other screen, guys. Let's get rid of the it. Get rid of the it. We're going to do add list. So if we add a list, one thing we have to do is since we're adding a list, we have to include the list name long as well. So let's add that to the validation piece of everything here. All right, Richard Dixon says, I am also trying to generate something too. Trying to upload random images from an URL. I saw Axios, but have been trying to implement the request module instead. Huh. So when you say the request module, are you talking about XHR? I think there's three different ways that you can actually work with APIs. Three different ways. Three different ways that I usually use. If you're using vanilla JS, you're going to use an XHR request. Actually, there's four different ways that are common. The one of the more common ones, of course, is an AJAX request, and that's using the jQuery library, which I don't use anymore. Vanilla JS, which I don't use this technique anymore just for the sake of uniformity. But with vanilla JS, you can use an XHR request and make a request to the backend. So you'll have like event listeners with that and stuff like that, and onload, go from there. Then you can use a library. So in my case, I use Axios, and that's what I would use for uniformity because I would use Axios on my front end code, my client side code, and my back end code, my Node.js code. So Axios, I can work with that library in both areas, and also things can be a little bit on the more uniform side in terms of how I would code that, how it would look, and then also the response that I would get and how I can handle responses as well. And then I think and then the fourth is the Fetch API, which is I think that's built into browsers, I believe. So you can use the Fetch API, and with the Fetch API, you can do gets, and I believe you can actually do posts as well. The built-in Fetch API, I think you can actually use, like SuiteAlert has what's it called? An example for the Fetch API. I don't actually ever use the Fetch API. Yeah, I I've always used Ajax in the past, and then I started to use XHR, and now I use just Axios is what I'm pushing, and that's a bit of a new change for me the last 2 months or so, just using Axios everywhere. I'm using the request library module. It is like Axios from what I was just reading earlier tonight. Also, hey, while we're doing this, I don't know which one that is, but what I'd say while we're doing this, look up form objects. In fact, I'm gonna put something in the chat. You have request, Axios, and super agent. Okay, I've never. Oh, okay, I've no. I don't think I've heard of super agent. Sounds somewhat familiar, but I don't think I've really heard of that. Um, maybe I heard it from somewhere else or something like that. Give me a moment. I have some research that I was doing before, and you might want to be using a form data object to make these calls. Let me get to this and open a tab here. Let me get this window together on my other screen, guys. All right, so this is my research that I was doing on this here. So essentially, get rid of that comment. So go ahead and check that out, and also form data. So with blob, essentially a blob is the actual file that you want to upload. So like an image would be a blob, a document would be a blob, blah blah blah, right? Or blah blah blah. Pun intended. Um, so you would submit a blob to the back end. To do that, though, you're going to have a form data, and then on your back end, you're going to need something that's going to take that apart, and that would be something like a Multer. So, oof, this is a great video, and this is one from Brad Traversy. And Brad Traversy is like, this guy's amazing, man. One of the best content creators in terms of coding and putting information out there. Also, somebody that I've bought courses from on Udemy, but I've also bought a course from this gentleman here, a Cat of Mind, which is I think is like Maximilian Schwarzsmoller or something like that. But let me put these. This first link will be for Brad Traversy on using the Multer library or Multer module. Because what you're going to have to do is you're going to get this form data, and then that form data actually has to be ripped apart in a sense. And this one is from Maximilian Schwarzsmoller. The video from Maximilian, I think is shorter, and yeah, I think it's shorter, yeah, by a couple minutes, not by much, but it's more straightforward and to the point, and he doesn't go too deep into it, but there's really no need to because you get what you need right then and there. Like I saw this video, got up from my computer after doing like a couple days of research, and was like, "This is it. I'm gonna go take a nap, and then we'll go ahead and dissect this afterwards." So you definitely want to research these four things, right? So those four links that I put in there. Essentially, you're going to have a blob, and then you're going to take that blob, and then you're going to send that over. You're going to send that over to your backend, right? And then you're going to use but you're going to use like the form data object. So the body will be new form data, and then the form element, which is everything that you're putting together. And I can show you. Oh, I'd have to look at code of how I did it, but we can break that down when we like looking at your problem. So yeah, you're gonna have all this data here, or sorry, you're gonna be using the form data model or the form data method to actually have your form. The reason why you do that with form data, once you actually make your body form data, so you have your key. What's nice is you have a text, or not what's nice, but the difference is you have your key value pairs for your header or whatever, your form data, but you also have a file option. And with this file option, now you can actually put in a file that you're going to upload to your backend. And that's the big difference there. You can't do this with like a text string or something else like that. You can, but then you're gonna have to parse it on the other side or decipher it on the other side or what have you. The biggest difference is that with the form data, and you can use this with for Postman, but with Postman you can use form data. Hopefully there's no porn. All right, cool, there isn't. But with this here, then you can actually go ahead and like actually pick a file and then open that file and then send that file along the way. But yeah, so that's pretty much how that works. But we're not doing that. So, but that's pretty much what you're looking at, Richard. If you're trying to actually upload a file to your backend, the Multer plugin will actually help you in terms of not help you, but it has like functions and settings in there that will let you know where, or help you with storing that file and naming the file and everything else like that. And they go over those into those two videos from Academind and Brad and Traversing Media. Okay. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. Just want to make sure I answer the questions and be of some help. It's not about me. It's about you. But yeah, these guys are great, man. Definitely watch these videos. And watch them at like 1x speed, if not slower, so you can catch everything and work through everything. So where were we? We want to go to controller, and with the controller, oh man, what did I need to do? I need to look at my API routes, right? And I want to look at a route to add JS. Looking into this now. Yeah, and you know, you can do a quick look through and we can still break down your problem here in the next portion of this. And I'll probably just do some this coding on my own here. But it's important that we help you out on that. All right. And there's gonna be another video tomorrow, so we're gonna be doing this back to back, and that's where I have the time to do this, and hopefully I can just get more done in a short period of time or in these 2 days here. But I really am gonna be setting up a laptop most likely to to actually do all this stuff while at work as well. All right. So in our add.js or add.js, this is our add route, and yeah, so we're gonna do add, and then we're gonna do list. So let's find list. So here, res status send list has been successfully updated. Let's find one list name. So we're gonna do an we're gonna actually, we should be able to put this in. Oh yeah, okay, cool. We're gonna do an upsert here. Oh, that's what we have to work on. We actually have to work on our validation first. So controller, and that should be under model. And under model, we're going to do our schema, and we're going to do a list entry, and we have a list name, and we're going to do a list name long, and that should be string true. All right, cool. Timestamp number. All right, cool. All that's done. So we've updated that. Should be the only thing I can think of for our list. Yeah, it's the only thing we really changed is we're going to require a long name. Yeah. And yeah, we're going to require that. I'm not going to make that towards like optional. And then now we're going to add a validation piece to it just to make sure that it validates that entry. Account entry validation, register validation. Oh, we got no validation for list. And then do we have our nano server core JS. I also want to make sure that entry type list, making sure that we have validations for these things. I actually have to rework this validation and how I'm doing it because actually not really. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to rework it anyway because it'll be pulling from the database. But what I want to make sure, okay, yeah, there we go. So the list actually has a UUID. So I have a list UUID. Let's actually do a GET request on lists and send. Oh, one of the problems I was having in last stream is that it kept on showing the wrong thing here, and that was because of the function that I was using. So if I do to, and I was doing get, and then I was doing list. Yeah, so right here where it says instead of putting get list response, which is this, I was actually doing like a get entry response or something like that, which is a whole nother function at the top. So it was returning the wrong stuff. But in this case, essentially what we're going to be targeting is our payload eventually once we get to this point. That array of items that we're going to pass, essentially we're going to be reading that array back once we get it. So I'm just going to have it send to the backend to send right back to us. Actually, no, I'll have it sent to the backend, saved to the database, and then read back to us. Let's see if we can do that in a couple minutes here. All right, so let's do our validation first. Our validation is going to be, what can I copy? Nothing, it looks like. All right, cool. So we just do this here. Account entry validation, list entry validation, and then we're going to have the list entry. I shouldn't have to do a UUID. Yeah, entry description. I should only have 3 things, and that'll be, yeah, so I should have 3 things, and that'll be the list name, and the list name long. Okay, let's work with that. So list should be type array, and I think I have a validation string in there for that already. If not, then we just have to look it up. Yeah, all of these are joy.string. I should have a validation for array though, or should be able to validate an array. All right, crap, I'm gonna have to go look for that. So list and array. All right, so here we go. What is the, whoa. You know what they say about crazy chicks? They got the best. Well, we'll leave that alone. All right, cool. So let's joy library. Okay, joy. And we're going to do array. So generates a schema object that matches an array. So joy array. Okay, validate sync. Array has array items. Oh, okay. So we can actually do array items, and then array may contain strings and numbers. Oh, okay. So we can do joy array. Oh, that's pretty cool. So we can even validate down to like the actual items in the array. So we'll do joy.array. All right, because I want it to be a valid array. Where is it? Array. All right, cool. Generates a schema object that matches the type of array. And then I could do items. So in this case, I'll do items. No. Pattern. I don't know if I want to do that yet. Count UUID validation. We can do list UUID validation. So we'll do that. Actually, no, we don't need that yet. No, we don't need that because I won't have a UUID. It'll be assigned after the fact. So it should be assigned by our backend. So Yeah, let me get rid of this. So message, we will do list. Should I do a lowercase? List is invalid. Okay. And we'll do this as label it as list, and we won't have a pattern to it. And these things have to be in a certain order too. So like even that label and the pattern and everything like that. I think that pattern, we might have to have pattern for message to work. All right, so I'll probably just, well, let's see what we can make it work in there. But I want to do, oh, actually before this. Joy object, joy array items. So joy array dot items, and then we're going to do joy dot string. So the item should be just should be strings, and I won't do anything else. Yeah, it should be string and has schema. One or more joy schema objects to validate each array item against. So if given the type required, that means then there must be a matching item in that array. If a type is not forbidden, then it cannot appear in the array. Required items can be added multiple times. Okay. So in this case, I have my object here. So joy.array.items. Then in that, it is, oh, that's a little bit on the weird side to me. So schema, string, array must contain at least 2 strings. Oh, okay, that's why it looks weird. It's on different lines. So that's like one long line here. So it should have 2 items. String, array contains strings and numbers. So in this case, I just wanted to, okay, I just wanted to do strings. And then numbers, I don't want to do numbers yet. All right, cool. So I'll just have it items and then string. Joy.string. And, oh, I did this wrong here. Should be lowercase j. All right, so that's cool. Label list, message, and then make that required. And yeah, so all right, cool. So that's all right. So we'll see if we have errors with this here, and then we will take this here and we will do list name, and that's a string, and then we will call this list name, and then we'll do list name. Must be less than 255 characters. Yeah, that's fine. We don't have to do any other validation on that. So max, and then we'll do the same thing over again for the list name long. We don't need anything else here, so we'll get rid of these. All right, list name and then list name long, put it in that order. And then we'll just do long. Yeah, so yeah, I just want it to be strings. All right, cool. Save and see where we screwed up. All right, so we screwed up here. Oh God, that's last rule, support rule properties. Yeah, so this is the same thing. This right here, that message is not gonna work. So I'll just get rid of that. Yeah, that's it. I remember I was having that same problem before. So if you have a pattern, then you could put a message. But if you don't have a pattern, then you can't put a message. And in this case, I won't have a pattern in terms of the lists or anything like that. I could have a pattern though, using like a regular expression, but I don't think I want to define one right now. So we have our validation piece in there. Um, Now what we can actually do is, if we wanted to add a list, we should get. Okay, we won't get this. What I'll do is, yeah, I have to add in the validation piece. All right, so add list. List has been successfully created or updated. All right, cool. So that just updates everything. What I have to do here is not the get, but I have to do it in the add. And there we go. So I have to do the validation portion of it in here. Validate JSON. So I don't have that for my list endpoint. Okay. Let's go ahead and add that in there. So we'll do the try, and then if error, account list, message. All right, check if username account list. So in this case, we'll take our request body to Hardy. Reminds me of my friend's name back in high school. Dude was known as Scotty Too Hottie. It's funny though, because his sister turned out to be like a cheerleader for the Dallas Cowboys. Oh my God, what was her name, man? Ah, man. Brooke, I think Sorensen. Yeah. This is this dude's sister. A former Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, Brooke Sorensen. Holy crap, man. Oh, she got what? Her brother was like super short too. Used to make fun of him. Or they used to make fun of him. Yeah, yeah. What is wow, that's crazy. Oh no, she didn't have a kid. Okay. Thought she did. Yeah, Brooke Thornton. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, it should be her. That's crazy, man. Dallas Cowboys cheerleader season. Oh man, I don't think it mentions that. Sorry for being weird here. It just reminded me of like this girl, man. She was like she was alright in high school. I mean, obviously, you went down to be a Dallas cheerleader, Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. But yeah, her brother was really cool, Scott. Brother's a cool dude, man. He used to be funny as fuck, bro. Scott used to go off. He used to say some wild shit back in high school. I think he was like a year or two older than me. All right, cool. So object, body. There we go. All right, cool. Request object body. So we're gonna validate the JSON here. Status failure message, invalid JSON. That's not good because this is not actual JSON. It should be when we add a list, that list should be a new problem alert. All right, so we're gonna do let query. Let query. All right, cool. We're gonna do this here. So we're going to actually process this. Like any one of these queries, you're gonna process all of them through a for loop and just loop through that. And we have our standard error messages and everything else like that. We're not going to validate for JSON. We are going to do validation list. Oh man. Account validation dot validate. So validation, that's pulling from our validation. I haven't worked on this piece in a second. So it's pulling from our validation. We're gonna do this here. We're gonna get the body of it, and we're gonna validate it. And then regardless, we are going to yeah, well, regardless, we're going to send a 200. And it's just for testing. This is not permanent, of course. So try. So if send. Yeah, we can just do status. I don't think I have to do a send status. No, I think we have to do send. We'll just send OK. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. And we'll test this here. Failure. All right, that's fine. And it's failure because it's not valid JSON. Actually, no. We need to be sending this as an array. And what? Okay, there we go. Send. All right, cool. And let's see if this is okay. So 400 bad request. So we do have an error. We should be sending. Oh, okay, so we will be sending this instead. 400 status. Date now dot payload, and the payload's going to be empty. All right, that's good. And the only thing is, our error should be coming out. So I'm not sure which part of this is that right there. So it should be saying status. So add and then list. This is just add. So if not valid JSON, do that. We're not doing that. We will. Actually, let me see something here because, oh shoot, I was in the right function. I want to validate an array and then validate. Oh, actually, no, we're getting our array validated anyway. So this validates our JSON, but we should be getting our array validated already. Okay. All right, so status, failure, timestamp, payload. So let's look at that. So try, let object, and then const error, validation, validate object. So we have to use the right validation object here. So that's a problem. So let's go ahead and get that. All right, nano server. That is going to be under our model. And then we're going to do the validation.js. And then we're going to do list entry validation. So validation, list entry validation. Let's see what we get here. Send. Why is that not working the way I expected it? It's not giving us an error, so that's okay. I'm expecting that it'll give me this error here, and then, or send this error. It is sending 400 bad requests, but it's not sending my error messages here, which I need those, just so I can actually reduce that to the front end to say, hey, listen, there's something wrong with your input. Ugh. Did I? Yeah, I should have saved this. List entry. Oh, maybe I didn't export it. Yeah, I didn't export it. Okay, so list entry validation. I should have gotten an error though that says that doesn't exist. Okay, good though. I should have gotten an error saying that function doesn't exist though. That's, yeah, that is not so good. Yeah, I should have gotten an error saying that this function doesn't exist, and then should have went from there. But okay, figured that out. So value must be of type object. Oof. List entry validation. Where's the value though? Failure value, and then this is the object. Taking that in. So error.details for each. All right, so let's check our validation object. And so the list, I do have a label in there, so it should give me that label. So value must be type of object. Why is it a type of object? String. Oh, so this should be string. No, that's for the list though. And then I should say value must be type of object. Why is it saying value must be type of object? Joy.object, joy.array. That's a new one I'm using. Items in the array should be a string. Let me go ahead and put in here long name, and then list name long, and then let me send that. Failure value must be type of. All right, so a great way to first, let's get both of these up on the screen here. A great way to see where your error is coming from is just to change what your error is, of course. So I'll just add some dashes here, and then so see which one's giving us an error. So boom, that's giving us an error. So it's definitely this, right? And then what I want is this message list entry validation. So validation.list entry validation joy list name message label, and then let's see if we add label list must be a valid array. All right, cool. Back gateway. All right, cool. So there's a problem here, and that's probably that. Our errors here, okay. Empty rule set. So it's not liking the way I'm doing that. This is what happens when you add some new stuff, right? So joy.string, joy.array.items. So I can just make sure it's a valid array first off. Right? I don't alternatives. Where's array? Okay, array. I don't have to do the items. Or maybe I do. But I don't wanna. Let me take out the items portion of that right there. Yeah, so joy.array, and Generate a schema object that matches any of the array data type. Know that the undefined values inside arrays are not allowed by default, but uh, can be by using sparse. Support the same method. Um, Supports the same method of the any type. So const array and then joy.array items string validate async. Number. I'm just reading this here, which is like array.has schema, array.items. List the type of items allowed for the array. Let's just go without listing the types here and see if I still have an error. Okay, it doesn't support that. All right, so that works. We're taking out messages. Value must be type of object. Fuck, man, I do not like that. Or it's just like value must be type of object. Like, what? Okay, let's break this down. So we're passing it an array. I guess because we're passing it an array or the object, but I want to be able to, I want my data to be an array in some cases, an array of JSON objects. So, all right, joy.array, label required. Hey, Richard, get that link ready if you're still in the chat here. Get that link ready so we can look at your problem. We've already gotten to the second half of the show here, so we can look at that. List name long. Timestamp must be of type object. Okay. Timestamp payload. We know our error is here. Validate input, abort early false, const error. And I'm getting, okay, I am taking down, or not taking, but let's just do a console.log so we can see the full error. And we're just missing something in this because I've never used the array validation before. So definitely, and then let's do this. Send it. Okay. Validation error. Value must be type of object. Path object based. So original list name, list array, list long name, list name long. Okay. Details, message, type, context. That doesn't do anything for me. Doesn't make it better. So the original is a capacity array. List array. Ooh. Value must be type of object. I mean, I don't want to pass it just one thing though. That could be my problem here. I mean, it's reading out in plain English, if you will. Value must be type of object. So this value, it actually validate arrays. Ooh. So maybe I have to do. Not what I like. Okay. So let's go this, right? Okay, let's beautify this. All right, and then this array will be, we'll say this is payload. So if it wants an object, you give it an object, right? So if it value is must be type of object. It's expecting an object, so we give it an object. Object is payload, and that payload is an array. Yeah, there it is. List is required. Payload is not allowed. All right, so with the joy library, we have to pass a list. I do. I mean, I can loop through this. Okay. Yeah, so I can loop through this. I got this message here, so let me. Oh, doesn't let me easily copy and paste this. Hold on, I gotta view this video on YouTube so I can get that link. Okay. I'm gonna do a together. I'm gonna send you the link to this here. Invite. Copy to clipboard. Send you a message right now. I'm gonna send you a message and I'll have you in back chat for a little bit, Richard. So join when you're ready, and I should see you here in a second. But yeah, let me just look through this a little bit more. So. I probably have to validate each and every one of them and loop through it here. And like every single item, I'm going to have to look at it and inspect it and then go from there. I think that's what I'm going to have to do here. So in each and every single one of these, I have to actually validate this and then put it through its paces. But the thing is, how can I do that? And you see like all these messages here. How can I do that? I'm probably going to have another array. And then in that array, I can, I'm going to have another array. And then in that array, I'm going to push the actual final message, because you can only return a res object or a response object once, which is not like you need multiple. But so list is required. Payload is not allowed. Oof, okay. Joy. But if it's okay, that's just how it is. I'm gonna have to do a for loop on this. So oh shoot, that's the end. Yeah, okay, cool. So take this, take my payload. Yeah, and I'm just not gonna I'm gonna pass it an array. I'm not gonna do all this, like make it into an object and all that other crap. I'm just gonna have that object. So I'm gonna have array of objects. All right, and then with the array of objects, I'm going to do a for loop for the win. So let's just define that for loop. Let I equals 0, basic for loop stuff. Array of objects dot length, and then from there I'm going to do I equals increment I, and then I'm just going to do a simple console dot no, I'm going to do no. We know this should work, so we're not going to do all this like we're not gonna do all this like, oh, let me test it, see if this works. No, baby, we're going full, going all the way in there. All right, so we're not going to return status, right? Because we want to first, we're going to actually all our messages here. So we're going to push that onto message. And we're going to take message out of this loop and put it up here. So then it should be addressable. Yeah, it should be addressable to the actual for loop. And then after that, if error this for loop, and then we'll do like I think this will be the right way to do this, but we're gonna do this here because we're gonna take all of our messages that have been accumulated in the previous step and then return it. But we're gonna say if, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna say error message. If error message. All right, so if that error message is pretty much not blank, then we should go from there. And e.message. Error message. Richard, I don't see you. I don't see you in my back chat here or join the session. Yeah, you should have that StreamYard link, so join when you're ready, and then I can bring you up, and then I can finish while I'm finishing this off here. And then message, and then, oh, there you are, Speaker. Speaker, the coding devil there. All right, I'll bring you up in a second, Richard, so give me a moment. Let me just finish this off. And then I just wanted to return all these messages for when it validates each one of these items in the array. So array of objects, and we're going to do this right here, array of objects, and then we're going to do its location in that array or its index of that array. Error.details. Okay. Right. Array of objects dot length. Abort early false. So if messages, so if we even have anything from messages, we do this here. All right. See if we have any issues here with compiling. Well, it's not really compiling, but you know what I'm talking about. Ugh. Nothing. Like, it worked? What kind of foolishness? Oh, okay. Where's that send status 200? Okay. Oh, all right. Cool. So, oh, okay. So let's do this. List longs. Hey, okay, cool. That's cool. So what we'll do here, list name longs is not allowed. So what we'll do though, we gotta handle this a different way because we have to handle the errors for each one of them. One thing I will do is do this. So list, and then I'll do number, and then I will do. So I want it to, for each list, I want it to generate something. So I will be 0. So I'm just going to do +1. So the first list, and we won't know if, like, I won't do something like, okay, take the list name, or the list long name, because it might not have the long name, it might not have the list, blah, blah, blah. It might have all types of issues. So it's going to be up to the user to, figure out which list it is, because of the error that comes out. So we'll do that. So that, and the reason I'm doing that is here. So list number 1, and then list name long is not allowed, right? But list number 2 might be fine. List, and then, all right, cool. Yeah, it's not allowed here. All right, but list number 2 should be fine. That's fine. And what I'll probably do is like, okay, yeah, that's fine. If any of the lists are wrong, you're gonna have to do them all over again. And I'll just have to change my front end code so it doesn't reload or refresh or anything like that. So we won't have that problem. Okay, let's help out Mr. Dixon here. Mr. Dixon, I'm gonna bring you up and add you to the stream. All right. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, what's up, bro?
All right, I can't hear you talking. Brother, are you there? Maybe, give me a second. Let me change my speaker here. There we go. All right, go ahead and talk.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Perfect. All right, great.
Okay, not bad.
Change the output on my end. All right, cool. So yeah, so I'll have to deal with these error messages on something. Deal with how I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna deal with these error messages going forward. But how you liking the stream? Give me some feedback real quick. I will require payment. It'll be your payment.
No, I love coming in watching the stream, even though it's some stuff, I don't. I mean, I do pick up on a lot of it, but it's just so much. It's just still trying to put it all together, though, and that's all. That's where I'm at in my programming journey right now. It's like trying to put all the. It's just so many components to program. You can understand the concepts. Like I can speak to so many different concepts, but man, it's just sometimes just actually sitting down doing it though, man. Goodness, it's tough. Like,
yeah, man. No, there's definitely times where like you're doing it and it's just like, okay, just give me the little bite-sized chunks, man. I ain't ready for all the other stuff you're giving me. Like just give me what I need. Sometimes it's like the biggest thing.
Yeah, so I'm doing this. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead. And then I'll put your screen share up. Remove mine for now. All right, cool. I'm gonna add that to stream. All right.
All right, so yeah, so just basically doing using events, Accrual API. Everything was working fine, but now the requirements for me is to let me read this off.
First off, I will compliment you on your code, the way it looks. You're using some stuff I do not use, which is like the dot notation where it says like the event.create on line number 9 there in your event controller.js.
The spread.
Yeah, I never used spread.
Yeah, I learned that from somebody else in one of the Slack groups I'm in. Yeah, that's actually that's very helpful.
Yeah, it's really nice when you want to like assign those assign pieces of that to
especially if you have a huge model, you wouldn't want to just keep trying to manipulate everything in the model.
I definitely do.
But I'm thinking now I might have to change that code though. Okay, so this is one I'm at. I'm gonna go ahead and just bring the requirements in front of the screen real quick so you can see like what I'm doing.
So is this a course you're doing?
Yeah, this one, one of the Slack groups I'm in. All right, so this is the requirement. All right, so I added the image field to the event model. I'll show that. And, well, yeah, I guess I'll just go through it. Then I pull up the code. All right,
let's read the top.
Yeah,
so the event manager needs to add images to events going forward. She, however, does not want to upload images directly. She just needs random images that fit the category of the event. Ergo, if the category is casual, she just needs an image that depicts casual. You have been provided with an API that does just that. That's imagegen.herokuapp.com. Okay, here is your task. 1, add an image field to the event model. So that just sounds like an actual key. So
yeah,
an
just
image
a property
field
to the event model.
Okay, and then update the post event route in the event app to do these. Using any HTTP request library, send a GET request to category event category. All right, cool. To fetch it, and it's just giving off a. For those that are not looking at the screen, this is just giving a URL, and then to fetch an image that matches the category of the new event. Ergo, what's it called? Okay, the URL and then category equals casual. Okay, that's cool. So we're going to be building a URL based off of the request. So we'll probably be using template literals to fill in some things there and getting that from the front end, which is why we're adding that new field. And then append the image in the response as the event image. Submit a link to your publicly accessible repository. Okay. All right. So what do we got on your side? What do you want to actually, you can explain that and break it down however you want, but I just wanted to read it to understand.
All right, so the first requirement, the image. So let me pull up my. All right, so this is my event schema. The populate when I create different events, variety of different events. So title, the cost for the event, different category for the events, business, casual, party, general.
And why are you using enum?
Yeah, that's like a validation. It has to be one of those 4, or it won't.
Okay.
Or it won't. It won't set anything else. So if somebody tries to put all white for a category, then it's not going to go through.
Right. Okay.
So it has to be one of those 4.
Right. I can understand that. Just like looking at mine here. Yeah,
definitely let me know if I'm doing something wrong.
Not that you're doing something wrong. I've just never used it in that fashion. Like, enum or enumerator. I used match, and then in previous instances of for instance, I'll put it in. Actually, let me just put in this whole schema. I'm gonna put that in our JavaScript there. So that should be available, and you should be able to see that on your screen.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
JS Fiddle. So as we look at that, though, we'll see that I have match for under institution. I do somewhat the same thing. So under institution, I have my core.regular expression. I have an actual regular expression, and then this does all my validation for me. So that category, I want to say it'd probably be better if you do match. But first off, what are the problems you're having thus far?
Well, yeah, the enums work. Yeah, that's working fine.
That's working fine.
But,
okay.
Yeah, this is my the image. Like I say, dealing with this new everything else in the app been working pretty good. Now, yeah, so I added this image. I used. I didn't see an actual. I don't know. Yeah. I'm still kind of lost on this. I don't know how I'm going to. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to apply the image. that's why I was saying in the, let me bring up my controller. Hold on.
What's a sick picture?
Exit that.
So
Some room over there.
what I want to say though is that the part that I see that you're quote unquote maybe doing wrong, or the thing that stands out, is in terms of your schema. One, like, why are you storing an image to the database is one thing. Like, that really should be stored maybe, or not even stored, but you see how it says image is data buffer? I don't know. Do you really need this in your database at all? Is one thing. And then two, um, the content type of string, that seems off for a buffer, because a buffer is usually going to be a set of hexadecimal values, usually 2 digits at a time, or two hexadecimal digits at a time. It's not really going to be so much of a string. I'm not sure if you got that from somewhere, and it could be just me not knowing, but that seems a little bit off there.
Yeah, I can actually figure that's probably wrong. I did see this in like some Stack Overflow stuff, but I definitely wasn't confident with it.
Okay.
Because I didn't see a type. I didn't actually see a type for. There's not a schema type for image or URL. I see that where you can install a custom type for URL.
Mm-hmm.
But even besides just the type, I'm still trying to figure out how. Okay, just like I'm able to populate this model onto the whatever I use in Postman, whatever I use is the for requirements. Okay, so
I'm gonna send you something in JS Fiddle. I'm gonna send you a chat here. So go ahead and check that out. And let's go ahead and bring that up on the screen, and let's look at that together. And this is an important thing. Look at the documentation, and it'll tell you, quote unquote, just about everything.
Yeah.
Right, so we're looking.
Yeah, so I was looking at the schema types earlier.
Oh no, let's go back one step. Like schema types, okay, you kind of got it there, right? But right there, actually go down a little bit. Why is this different? Oh, okay, because I scrolled down. Okay, cool. Permitted schema types are, and then you can have buffer. So you might have a buffer as an actual file or something like that, or a buffer string, and saving that image to the actual database. Really should never do that, because it's just not that database is not the best place to store an image. So that's just like, rule of thumb. You maybe store the path to the image in the database, but you don't actually store the image in the database. And that's one of the things you definitely want to get away from, unless you really need to, because then it also makes it super hard when you have to dump that database, that you're going to have like a 1 gig image, or what's it called, like a couple kilobyte large image or something like that, or even a 1 meg image. It just makes that database even more gnarly in terms of its size. But yeah, you don't need that. All right, go ahead. Now, what are your other thoughts?
Yeah, I think I would have to agree. I actually don't know why they. Yeah, I would think you would want to, like you say, put in a file or something, like instead of put in a database. But yeah, I'm just going off with the requirement. They say add a. They talking about add a image field to the event model. I was just trying to implement it, even though I'm not wrapping my mind on.
So let's break that down a little bit. So it says add a field for image to it, but it doesn't really say add an actual image to the database. So that field for the image can actually be a URL to the image itself. So you don't really need, so that can be, let's go back to that and bring that up on your screen. And where it says image, we'll just put type as string, and then we'll do required true on that. Okay. So you can just you can copy and paste the other stuff, you know. Come on, man, you gotta use some shortcut keys. Gotta get used to it, broski.
Yeah, I worry about speed. I just need to get the knowledge.
I know, man. I'm a Nazi with that type of stuff. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Also, one thing that's bothering me on line 7 and line 20, put a space in between type and string, or in between that colon. Yeah, the colon there. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, I'm just like that's some of those things like that will actually trip you up in certain syntaxes if it won't parse it properly. So that's one thing. So this will be a type string, and you can go ahead and save this because this should be our model in terms of like when it saves it to the database. All right. And then you have, so you're already doing the template literals here on line number 4 on the file on the right-hand side, which is your event controller. All right. So const.url, well, that's one thing you want to change. Well, I don't know if you want to change that. You may not need to. I probably wouldn't use a const there. I'd probably use like a let or something like that, just in case you need to change it later on. But something like that, I probably wouldn't put a const. But it's okay because the only reason it's okay is because you have that the colon category. But I also don't see where category is defined before this yeah, I don't see it there. I don't see where category is defined before that variable there.
And another thing, should I actually implement this actually in the controller, or should I put this in a separate file? That's something I've been back and forth on how I'm gonna do this too.
So line number 4, put it in the controller or not?
Well, okay, so this is actually where I'm taking this from, because like I said, I'm still kind of torn. Like how I'm going to do it. This is what I was doing at first. I had in a separate. So I got the image.js. So this is I had to install this. This is the Quest module I was talking about earlier. This is on like a HTTP. I'll show you
It works with REST APIs pretty much. Oh yeah, that's nice and simple.
Yeah, this is simplified HTTP client.
Yeah, bro, don't use that. Already red flag. Look at the top.
Yeah, they say it's deprecated, but they say a lot of people still use it though.
Yeah, look at me. Let's look at the downloads. Weekly downloads. It's still at 23 million. Are you serious? As of February, the request has been fully deprecated. No new changes are expected. In fact, none have been landed for some time. So let's see the last time that it was actually updated. Stop right there. And last published a year ago. Yeah, definitely, bro. Use like Axios or something. I would tell you just to get used to it. Look for the Axios library, and we can.
So use Axios do it instead. All right.
Yeah, we can do it now, or we can do it later. What do you feel comfortable with?
Well, you know Axios, so I'll just use.
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter because like it's a challenge for me nonetheless. But I just want to like I'd say if you don't want to do, it's up to you if you want to switch to Axios right now. But if it works, and you can still use it. But eventually, all of that, change all that shit to Axios or another library that is up to date.
All right, so Axios or Super Agent. I know that's the other two HTTP clients I saw that a lot of people use.
Yeah, I use Axios. Super Agent, I want to say I've heard that, man.
Yeah, I was looking through a few articles to see what used the most, and it was Request, Axios, and Super Agent from what I've seen from multiple sources. So we'll go with Axios then, since you're using it, you work. So yeah, so I'll take your advice on that. So yeah, let me pull up Axios there.
Oh no, I can tell you how to do it. It's like npm I Axios -- save. So with this one, it was updated 5 months ago. Okay, let's go do your Visual Studio instance there, and then we're gonna go to the like you can kill your app.
All right, so let me erase. Let me cut all this out.
No, I don't have to. Hold on. Let's go ahead and kill your app first, and then go ahead and install the package. Yeah, double C, yeah, okay. And then npm I Axios space -- save, and that'll save it to your package.json. All right, great. So now you can go ahead and instead of your, let's go up to your request, where it says request. And honestly, Axios is like the same way. Honestly, you can like instead of saying request, you can just use Axios for the require side. Or yeah, you can change the variable name too. That's cool. And then we're gonna change this. How many places do we have this? Okay, just one.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Oh no.
I kind of, yeah, you got to excuse some of this. Like you kind of get to a point where your brain just fries, kind of just.
No, don't worry about it. Let's go back to your image.js file though. We don't have to cut any of that. We could leave all that stuff. And then here, change that request.get to axios.get. So, or just Axios there, yeah. And that should work, to be very honest. And you see where it says URL? You're going to need a function that's going to be written there. A non-image. Oh, okay. So your function is a non. So let's copy and paste that into JS Fiddle so I can work on it with you, and we can just break that down together. So I'm just going to go ahead and erase all that stuff there. So it should be clear for us. All right, so we have a require.axios. The way I would write this is all of this would be encased in a function. So, and that function is going to be asynchronous because of the asynchronous nature of Axios itself. We're going to wait for some things that are that Axios does. So a non-image will now be a function, even though it kind of already is a function, but a non-image will just be a function from the get-go. And like, even though it's a variable, it's still like a function, right? So in this case, we are going to take in, oh, I don't know if we need this yet. So wait, Axios. And see, and you're doing some returns here. So we're not going to return anything yet. What we're going to do is get the value of some things first. On your side, share your screen again, please. And what I'll do, let me exit full screen on my side so I can bring it back into the stream. And I'm just going to have yours. So your screen is on full display here. So I'll just leave that up for me. All right, so I'm going to define an asynchronous function, a non-image. We're going to export that, so that's good. And here we're going to do an Axios call. In this, we want to wait for Axios to do what it does. We'll do everything within Axios itself, like all the returns for everything. I'm just kind of talking this out a little bit. So we'll do everything within Axios. Await Axios. That right there. So everything is spaced right. Again, I don't like const in this, but we have this category, right? And what are we passing? All of this, so this is a non-image, so it should be passed an object. That object should be coming from our request dot body, right? So we're going to pass that So in this let object, and this is just how I do it in terms of just being my method. And that would be that, like that. So I need you to put line number 3. Let's go to your split the screen between this and your Visual Studio. And then put your Visual Studio on their side, and then collapse it down to just where you can see one file at a time. I think you can collapse that right or left side by like choose like, yeah, and then right, so that should be good. Thank you. So we have that there. Leave your File Explorer open. What we want to do is go to the actual controller. So I think it's the event route.js.
The controller or the route?
We want to go to the route. Let's go to the route first. Controller. Okay, so router.get authenticated user. Okay, so you have that. So this is the entry point to your API, correct?
No, my entry port is my index. This is my entry port right here.
Oh no, sorry. From like, say for instance, if I'm making a request, what is the entry point to what is the file that's going to answer that request? Is it the last file we were just in? It should be. I would assume that it's going to be in under routes.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, so let's go to that. So in your routes here, event controller dot fetch events, and then create events, and then event controller. So let's go to your controllers event controllers file, because that's where all the magic is happening for all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then which is the one that we're working on now? Which endpoint?
Yeah, this is the post. This is the post.
Okay, so that's the post, right?
Yeah, this is the post.
So in there, from our JS Fiddle, line number 3, just go ahead and copy line number 3 for me. And all we're doing is, and you can change this to whatever you want. Just remember whatever name you use.
You want to put this above the event.
Yeah, line number 7. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. So event.create and request.body. So then with that request.body, instead of saying request.body, what we're going to do is just put object there instead. And again, you can always use, we're still using the spread operator. I'm just assigning request.body to an actual object. And this is just for me. All right, so we'll do that. All right, so error.new event, return status, error message, new event created. So now what we have to do, what is the object that we're actually passing? And this goes back to this should go to our schema. So let's look at our Mongoose schema and see how we're actually passing events to this function, because I want to see the data or the structure of the data itself. All right, so we're going to have 4 different items here, or 4 different properties. So 4 different keys. Let's request object. Let's create a simple request object here, and we're gonna have title.
Yeah, and it's killing me because I feel like I'm close. It's something on the lines of request.query.category has to compare, equals the category of the URL. but not
exactly.
Yeah, something like I said, I got a superior brain fart right now, but
superior. I've never heard that used in that manner, sir. Superior brain fart. It's like a superior potion from one of those like RPGs.
Yeah, brain. Yeah, superior brain fart when hanging out your hanging out your ear.
Right. So title. Oh man, Richard. The cost $5. And you'll see how I'm doing here in this JS fiddle. I'm just doing like category, and then our category will be like casual, right? But then, because we're going to be using that, but then the image will be the actual image URL. So now the image URL though, so is it saying that we need to add this to the schema? Because my thought is that's going to be generated. That's gonna. Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, no, we can actually have that there, because we'll do that for we'll fill in all of this later. So right now, image URL will be blank. So if I'm sending something, actually, I won't even send image URL. I'll make image URL. So literally, all I'm sending is what you see there under the request object. So I could do like Richard D image or something like that, right? Oh, there's a different, okay. Image and then cost and category. So I'll provide 3 things. My backend will go ahead and do the other thing. Go ahead and close that chat for me. Just so we can see all that stuff on the window there. There we go. All right, so request object. This is what we would. Have you been using Postman?
Yeah, I got Postman right here. Yep.
All right, let's go ahead and open that up, and then one of the things that we'll do is, yeah, you see how it has that you're doing the test, but let's test your API. So let's bring up Postman and then have it hit your API endpoint. So I think that's the localhost 4000 most likely. No, the first window. You don't have to do it in that one. I mean, is that your project right here?
Nah, that's a different
something
project.
else.
Yeah, that's something else.
Oh, okay.
I can still copy this though. Yeah. This is 3000, I think. Yeah. Let's see.
Okay.
And that's.
Gonna run a get to it, so we're gonna be doing a post.
Oh yeah, I got hold on, I got to turn on note mine.
Oh, okay.
Whoop, it's crashing. Hold on, it's crashing. I'm gonna change some stuff up.
Yeah, right, so that category is not defined as I thought. All right, cool. So go ahead and just comment out that line. Line number 4.
All right, there we go. Yeah.
Awesome. Oof, my video's poor on my end. Sorry
okay.
for people.
Oh, okay. You know more. I gotta create another. I gotta sign back in. I gotta create another token.
Oh, okay. Jeez.
Yeah, I'm doing the whole works.
Hey, man, you ain't fucking around, dude. All right. Let's get it. All right, man. Hey, man. Hey, listen, bro. Hey, if that's how you want to rock, man, let's rock.
I was trying to get like you, dog. Just trying to get like you,
bro, I'm not doing that. Not at your level. You a step above, man. You a superior. You're a superior noob.
Superior noob.
I was not doing that when I first started. Hell no. I got to create another auth token. All right, show off.
Oh, you fucked me up with that. Oh shit! All right, hold on. I don't forgot. Let me go look back at the users. I gotta look at the user scheme real quick. I got so much.
What you can do, you can just you can go the way you
Oh
get
yeah,
around
email
this.
password. Okay, yeah. Let's have a look real quick.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say the way you get around that is just go to damn it the way you don't show this on stream, but like go back to your routes. So that'll be under routes and then event routes.js. Go to that file on the left hand side under routes. Yeah, right there. And then what are we doing? We're doing any one of these. Like just take out the middleware for authenticated user. Like you just don't need that yet. So keep your API open, and then I usually say add authentication later on, like much later.
Oh, okay, all right. So you want me to comment out the
not even comment. Yeah, not even no. You can leave that up there. You can keep on calling the module. Just like copy and paste all of that there. So copy and paste that whole thing from line 7 to 18. Yeah, all that.
All right, you say copy and paste.
Yeah, copy that. All right, copy and then paste it below. No, sorry. Paste it at starting at line 20. All right. So from line number 6, put in / asterisk.
All right. 6 4.
Yeah. / Just a / symbol, right? No, other way. That's backslash. No. We want to do / Okay. Kind of like what I did in that JS fiddle right there on line number 4. Yeah. And then on line number, I think it's going to be line, where did we start again? What is the last line in that? I think it's going to be line number like 16. Yeah, put it on line number 16. No, line number 6. Is that the last one?
Yeah,
okay.
delete.
You're right.
The last one.
You're right. So then where it says authenticated user, comma, just get rid of that for each one of those lines. Right, and just do that for each one of those lines because you don't need authentication right now. Like you have your API. Oh, a little bit too much on that one now. You have your API. You're just getting started. You don't need to do the authentication piece. It's nice, but it gets in the way because it's like, okay, I just want to do these API calls. I never put in authentication like just to begin with, and I really started to just do authentication. So I'll say I'll be upfront with that, but I'm not going to be adding no authentication and dealing with that type of crap while I'm trying to put all this stuff together.
Yeah, you're right.
Starting out, like it's freaking annoying.
Well, I thought we were supposed to been done with this, but yeah, we had to add this, and like you said, so yeah. All right.
All right, so now let's go back to our yeah, there we go. And then just press Control Z. Again. There you go. Everything should be there. Take out the image. We don't need that one. That property. All right, so that should be good. Yeah. And
there we go. Yep.
All right, so we get all of our images, category, party. So we have all that stuff. We're getting all that from the database, right? Now, what we want to do is we want to have it to where if we do a post route, let's go to our post route here. And that should be under controller. Right, and then go to our post events, or sorry, this is the create new, in, the create new event. So in this, what we're gonna do, we're gonna comment out line from line 8 to line 16. We're going to comment out that block. So first, what we want to do is verify that we're getting information, right? Like we're getting information, we're getting it the way we're expecting it. So let's do that. Do you want to take that route, or do you want to just move beyond that? Because we also have to test Axios and all this other stuff.
Yeah, is we're getting the we're getting the data. Yeah, this I know this is the data right here.
Well, no, that's on a get request. Do a post request. So where no, go back to that, and then change it from get to post. Yeah, there you go. And then do send. Well, actually, no. Don't even don't send this. I want you to send it. New world shit. I want you to send it after we've changed this function. So let's go ahead and change this function first. So I just want you to just do underline, add a new line in between 7 and 8, and just do a console log obj and the parentheses there. Right, and then let's go ahead and comment out line 9 to 17.
How you comment out?
Oh, we're gonna do that multi-line comment that I just that I showed you, where you
How
change
you, how you do that?
Oh, let's go back to it. Go back to the actual code. You have to type this in. So at line 9, click there, yeah, and then just do /**. And then at line 17, at the end of it, do */. Oh, wrong way. Yeah, there you go. No, /. There you go. So now that should be commented out. And then as what we're gonna do is, no, don't save it yet. Hold on. All right, cool. That's fine. Line number 15. Let's go ahead and copy where it says return.res status. Copy all the way up to like right before JSON. Yeah, we don't need all of that. We don't need all of it. We just need up right before. No, don't delete it. You don't have to delete it, bro.
No, that was something that needed to be deleted. I forgot.
Oh, sorry.
Delete that. Yeah, that was me messing around earlier. But yeah, the rest of it do need to stay though. But yeah, would you say you want to copy to?
Yeah, sorry about that, man. I didn't know.
Where you want me to stop at?
Yeah, that's right there. That's fine.
Just right there. All right.
Yeah, copy that. And then under console, the console log, let's just go ahead and put that there. Because what we want to make sure is that Postman just doesn't keep on running, waiting for a response. All right, cool. Now we save it. And then actually, let's do a dot after that on line 9. Let's do a dot and then send. And then parentheses. And we're going to send back obj. So we're going to send the same object that we're going to send back the object that we're actually working with. All right. And then what we're going to do. Yeah, so that's fine. In fact, you can take out the console. You can take out line number 8 because we won't need it, because we'll see we don't need it on the back end. So you can take out line number 8. All right, cool. Go ahead and save that. And then now I can just do everything in Postman. And send it. It won't matter, whatever that is. Cool. So we're getting back what we sent. Make sure you put title in there. in your
Yeah, I
your
forget. I
request
forgot.
object. Yeah.
Put it back in.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, let me. It didn't create a.
No, it shouldn't have created anything.
It didn't create an ID.
Yeah, we didn't. We don't. We took all that. We should have took all that code out, I assume,
Okay. All right.
because we're not doing anything right now. All it's doing right now is we're just testing that we're sending and then receiving, and we're seeing what we were send. So now let's actually add some stuff. So go back to the to Visual Studio, and then add a new line after line number 7. And then we're going to do obj square bracket. So open the square bracket. And then we're going to do img. It's going to be a string. So we're going to put that in as it's going to be single quoted or double quoted. Either one will be fine. img. And then we're going to do equals. No, oh, sorry. It'll be equals after the square brackets. All right, equals. All right, and then here, this is where we're going to put in our URL. So our URL is going to be, let's copy the template literal there. So all the ticks and everything. All right, so where it says category, now let's go to, that's probably the wrong thing to save because category does not exist. So stuff like that, you don't really want to save that, like not yet, So let's look at our Postman output. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the category that's presented or sent. We're going to take that portion of it. So how would we reference that category property in that in this on our back end?
Right. The category. This is the body. It's inside the body. So request dot body dot category.
All right, but how would we do it with the code that we have there now?
Okay, with the code we have now.
Yeah, in Visual Studio Code. So let's look at line number 7.
So it would be, all right, so yeah, object is request.body. So request.body.image.
Right. So you're getting along the same path. But why would we do request.body.category when we've already assigned request.body to obj? So what would we, on line number 8 for category, what would the category be in terms of for that what would the category variable actually be changed to now?
Yeah, it's going to be image now.
Well, no, well, image, we're adding image to that object. Image does not exist because we're not sending image. We're actually creating that right now.
Yeah, so yeah, object is request.body. I understand that.
Right. So then we're at the very end of line number 8, where it says category. What should it be now? Because if we run this, it's not going to work.
So I shouldn't use the template literal. I should just
no. We want to use template literal. That's fine. The problem is the category variable that we're using, like where we actually put in our template there, where it's like the or where we're using a variable for the name. We're trying to like resolve a variable name to an actual string. What are we going to put there at the end of that line? So where it says $, curly braces, category, how should we write that out now? How should we address that category that's passed through Postman?
Yeah, I would do something similar to what I did down here in the get functionality in the fetch events.
Right. So you're doing request
Where
that query. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, I would do something where it has to compare. I have to compare
You don't need to
this
compare.
URL, the category and the URL to the category in the.
So currently category as a variable does not exist. At line number 8 at the very end.
Yeah, because we got this. Yeah, we got this commented out.
No, not because of that. It does not exist because it does not exist, period. It's not initiated as a variable. So it's not initiated beforehand, right? So where it says category, what should it actually say? At the very end of that line.
Image?
No, it should reference the category property in the request.body. But request.body is assigned to the variable obj. So if request.body is assigned to the variable obj, for category, if I wanted to access the category property, what do I put there? And if you wanted to use your spread operator, you can. I mean, you can actually put that back in there and then go ahead and define it as you're talking about. But it's not defined currently. So if I look at not line number 11 and look at your spread operator, then that means I need to have that spread operator ahead of time. But if I don't have that spread operator, how would I access that? Because you can use these higher level.
Yeah, if I don't have the spread operator, I have to put the actual entire model inside that event.create.
Right, but how hard is that to do, right? Like you're using these advanced techniques, or the new spread operators and things like that. But honestly, at number 8, the answer is pretty much obj dot category, and that's how you reference that. I don't know if I just said that wrong, and I'm trying to like get you to figure that out. So let me know if I'm just like like pushing you in the wrong direction or saying that wrong. But where it says category, it should be obj dot category, and that's how I access that property.
Inside the template letter or something.
Mm-hmm. No, you don't have to. You don't have to erase it. I mean, category is category. Just put an obj dot ahead of it, and then category. Yeah. Oh yeah. Make sure you spell it right. There you go. Right. So now if you use your spread operator, that'll help. But what if you don't have spread operators? What if you're using code that doesn't use spread operators and it was written in an old version, or an old, not version, but an old spec, or an old spec of JavaScript? How would we access that object? And this is how you would do it. So either you would do request.body that category, but in this case, request.body is already assigned to obj, so you do obj.category.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point I was just trying to like do right there. So, but yeah, so we should be good. Let's go ahead and save. But do you understand what I was trying to do there? Was it necessary? Maybe you think it's not.
Nah, man, my brain is so fried, bro. I really can't tell, to be honest.
All right. Let's go to Postman then.
I can't.
Hey man, this is where you need to walk away from the computer and nope the fuck out. Like just say no. Fuck
That's
this.
really what I want to do, but I have to have it turned in tomorrow. So
it's
one of those times. Yeah, I really want to just do that, but yeah, I got to have it done. That's why I came to you. I was like, man, because I think I could have figured this out, but I just don't have time. I just don't have time to keep sitting with it. Yeah, I'm working a lot this week, so.
Yeah, me too. I started this new night job. It's crazy in terms of the hours. Let's go to what's it called? Shit, what is this thing? Let's go to Postman. There you go. And let's see how this looks. and go ahead and send it. So notice that we sent no image, but now it returns an image URL. Right?
Sweet.
You see how that works? So now it's saying, okay, now we have to do category, general, and all this other stuff. But now it's all that stuff is there. So cost 500. So whatever we sent, now we can actually pass this on to the Mongoose schema and actually save it to our database, because now it has image in there. Before it would fail because it required image. Now we generated image and we can go from there.
Okay, bad.
All right, so now let's go ahead and incorporate this into our code. Let's go to Visual Studio Code, and then you can maximize the yet window, and it will, or uncomment all that stuff. Let me go ahead and use the bathroom. I'll be right back. Just incorporate it, and then I'll check that once I come back.
All right. All right, so OBJ equals. I still need to use that cells. I need to look up that cells.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, I was just looking up how to implement at cells.
Oh, that's pretty easy. I don't know if we need to do it yet, though. Yeah, I'm not sure if we need to do that yet, because that's going to be, oh, okay, that's on that side on image.js. So let's make sure everything works.
So should I implement it directly in the controller or in a separate file?
We want to do it eventually in the controller and put it all together. I don't see why it shouldn't be in the same thing, but we can do that later. Let's make sure that the code that we just integrated actually works as expected, and I have a feeling it won't, because of the way you have your object. Object create object. No, actually, no. It probably will. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I created a new event. Sweet.
Message, new event, ID. Sorry, I'm eating a popsicle. Okay, new event, message, new event. How are you passing it, new event? That's kind of crazy. Okay. If it works, it works. Is new event like a function?
Yeah, that's the. Yeah, what's an object? Yeah, it's an object right here.
Yeah.
So, and the callback, yeah, and the callback function.
Okay. So with
So it
when you
populate, yeah. So yeah, everything populates in the new event object.
okay. Yeah. It's probably that's something new to me because I don't see where it's defined. That's why. And you can use the require if you want, but sorry, you can use request, but where else is request used in this file? Or is it something you wanted to add? And you can get rid of line number 4, by the way.
I wonder if it's I'm still wondering if it's working right though. Well, it's working right. We still, but actually, it's still not populating a picture because we need Axios to actually.
Right, it should be pulling that.
Huh?
Yeah, it should be pulling that because essentially it should be pulling that from your database, the image URL. So, I mean, we also have to look at the order of your operations here or order of how you're doing this. So you create a new event. What does that new event create? It creates a database entry?
Yeah, that's going into the database.
Okay.
Yeah, it's posting into the database.
So once it posts, now let's go ahead and do a get and see if that entry that we just put in shows up. So bring up
Because
Postman.
it's posting the database because it's create new event. Well, this right here, this event model, this is the create. This event model is the mongoose model. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's populating with the model. So it's populating to the mongoose.
I kind of get that. Now let's go to Postman. Yeah, I kind of get that. I'd have to look at the code for that. And let's do a get to that same to that same endpoint, that post endpoint. Just change it to yeah, right click on it. No, right click on the tab at the top. And no post. Yeah, the post tab, the post, and choose duplicate tab. Now you have it there again, and then instead of doing post, choose get. And then send. And then let's look for a new one. It'll probably be at the very end. We'll see.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we have everything in there. Everything is as expected, right? Change it, makes our ID, all this other stuff. So now what do we need to do with this information? You tell me, let's look at what the thing says. Like, what do we need to do next?
All right. So, all right, give me a moment. All right, dang, what done did? Yes, when the window was up. Okay, here we go. All right, so send a grit. We did a get request. So we need to fetch an image.
So go ahead and read it out.
Category of the new event.
All right, so we have number 2. Update post / events route in the event app to do these. Using any HTTP request library, send a GET request to event category to fetch the image that matches the category of the new event. Ergo casual business, right? So we have the link because that's saved to the see, we didn't even have to save that to the database like that, I guess. But append the image in the response as the event's image. Excuse me. Append the image to the response as the event's image. Send a GET request to fetch an image that. Okay, so when we
It's
open
going to
up
have
a
to be a
page,
comparison. Like just reading it, or it's going to have to be a
I want to push back, but first I want to understand you. Why would we need to compare this? Why would we need to do a comparison on this? And what would we compare it to?
because I'm wondering if this this image generator they created actually has the same. Nah, they wouldn't be able to do that. Nah, I just thought about that. They wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, like why would let's go back to like why would you compare? I don't need to compare anything really.
Well,
All my
I
comparisons.
need to do an assignment though.
An assignment is different than a comparison. So you want to do an
Yeah.
assignment instead? Okay. All right, cool. I can understand an assignment. But where is that assignment? So it's like append the image to the response as the event's image. Okay, so the image, what do we have to, what type of object do we have to return in terms of this? I mean, I could understand returning as a link. What is the result supposed to look like? We can do an Axios. We could do a couple Axios calls to test out how this would look.
All right, so we got the Axios in this file here.
Okay, so let's go back to the split the screen with the JS fiddle. Go ahead and close out everything except for image.js. And I'm just going to work on this JS fiddle in another window here, and then I just want you to set up your screens accordingly so we can actually see that work. So let URL equal. Actually, yeah, we won't do that. We're going to do object. We don't even need this for the URL. So URL, we're going to do object dot and then image. I don't know if we want to do this, but we need to be doing an Axios. So you see that? You see how I did that where I'm passing in object? Because in my object, my object that's stored in the database, I know I have a field called img or .img. Right? So I know I have that field, and I'm going to use that as my URL because we already made that in the other file that we were working on. So let's go ahead and get rid of line number 3 in our image.js file. Actually, yeah, well, we're going to get rid of a lot of things on that one because we're going to redo that whole thing as a function. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually just copy and and then JSON.body. Let's see what we need. So image URL.
Yeah, that might be way different because I was coding that according to the request function.
Send me this the link to ImageGen. Send me that URL. or the base of that, the one that you just cut, just go ahead and paste that into the JS fiddle for me. Great. And then event category. The event category would be business. So we'll try that. I think business. I think that's the right way of spelling that. Status true image.
Put the HTTPS in there.
That's fine. Yeah, it works on my side. And then we can do party. Oh, okay. So if I actually go to any one of these links here, so like for business, just copy and paste business, bring this up, open up a new tab, copy and paste that URL in there, and then we'll see what it brings. Right, so it says status true, image, and then it gives us our image. Right, so if we go ahead and click on that image, that link for that image. All right, well, that's weird, but okay.
Sorry.
So that's business. All right, so now we can see where we get it. So now what does it want us to do? Let's go back to the instructions, because via the API, all it's giving me is a link to the actual business image. All right, it says, okay, using any HTTP request library, send a GET request to fetch the image that matches the category of the new event. Append the image in the response as the event's image. Submit a link.
I guess I just want to just save the image to the database, basically.
I mean, I don't see that it says that. And then also, if you look at it, like if you go back to the tab with the business image. So go back to that. And then like go back and just go back one, or go back one.
Yeah, it's pulling up. Yeah, it's pulling up the JSON.
It's just giving me that. It's just giving me a JSON object. So does it want the actual image, or does it want the link to the image? That to me is not clear. So
you're right. It isn't clear.
Right, because it's like
it needs to be. Do you want to save the image? It's not telling me. It's not giving me no. And me about some of the other problems they done had us doing. They probably don't want to go super deep like that. They probably just trying to see if you can just get this done. So It's probably just
they just want the image URL.
It might be.
All right, cool. So let's do this. And I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna log off for the night because I'm
yeah, I appreciate you definitely.
No, you're good. No, because I know, like, I just want to make sure we can get this for you in terms of getting this ready. And it says, okay, error res body. I've never using that. Oh, okay, we're using something different. Why is it error res body? Axios.
That was from the request. That's what I was saying.
Exactly.
That's the function from the request. So we're using Axios now, so I'm sure it's way different.
Yeah, let me look that up here. Axios. It's because it's like axios.get and then the URL. So
yeah, you probably can erase all. Yeah, you probably can erase all of that if you want.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna rewrite it here in a second for you. Because I use it I use it a longer way. Yeah, here we go. This is where I use it here. And then I use it as a thenable. And it just makes it a little bit easier to deal with for me. So yeah, like Axios. Excuse me. Okay. And then all right, so I use Venables. So with the way I use Axios, I wouldn't say I like it this way. This is just the way I first learned it, and then I come to like it this way, right? So in our case, we have our object. So we have our image. We'll have our image. Okay, cool. So we'll have our image. So we'll pass object to our function, our non-image function, right? Then we're gonna do a get method with that. We already know, again, if we go to the tab, we already know the structure of the JSON data that's coming in. Is going to give us a status, and that's going to equal true or false, and then it's going to give us an image, and then that's going to equal a URL. At least just how we've seen it thus far, right? We haven't seen it not work yet. So now, if I go to URL, like what should I put for URL? Remember, we're passing an object. Object has the property of title, cost. What is the other thing? Title, cost, and something else. And then image. Title, cost, and then image. I forgot the other thing. There's a third thing before image. But we know image equals our URL in our case. So actually, just for the sake of brevity, we'll just do object dot img, right? Because we know that this should be the URL. Because we generated that. Oh, the category, that was the other one. We generated it because when we post, it creates the it makes that image URL for us, right? And saves it to our database. So now when we're calling this back, so this object is after we've called or we've queried the database, now we're calling this, and then we get the resulting object, and then that resulting object will have object.image. Response type, we're going to say in this case it will be JSON, right? And then we'll take our response. So our response itself, it'll have the entire response body. The part that we need is the data. So .data, right? And this is just how Axios works. So response.data. So we'll do let data equals this here, right? And then we might want to do something with our object, right? Maybe we'll do like object, and then maybe we'll add a new key to it. And then we'll say image URL, right? And then that will be, and stop me if you have any questions, and then image. All right, do you understand what I just did there?
Yeah, I'm still trying to. Yeah, I think this is I don't use promises. That's kind of what that then is. Then, right? Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, I haven't used them yet. Yeah, I got to wrap my mind around. Like looking at it kind of throws me off. Looking at it a little bit.
Ugh, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really like promises either. Freaking annoying. It's like you don't know when to use what and whatever. So I totally understand. And we're gonna do a console.log.
I do want to get to using them more. It seems like
you're gonna have
a lot more complex code. It seems like more people wants to use promises. It seems like
not wants to, have to really. Because because essentially you have to retrieve data from other places, and then you have to wait for that data to actually come in. And if you're using Node.js or even JavaScript in it, it's asynchronous. You never know when that data is going to come in. Like it could have a resource error on the other end of it, and it may never come in. So you have to deal with it also never coming in. I don't deal with it a lot with my APIs that I build, but you see it every so often. Alrighty, so we can see here what I did is I assigned this, and this may or may not work. I don't really know. I could bring it up on. I can actually, yeah. Let me see if I can do it on my side. Yeah, I'm gonna take over the screen share and I'll just do this code on my side just to see if it works.
Okay.
All right, so remove and then add to stream. All right, cool. And then I'll do it here. And then let's do nano trash and then test Richard Obfuscate 0605 2021. All right, .js. All right, so in here, I am going to const require Axios. I won't request anything. Can you send me one of those objects from that post, that original post in Postman? Just go ahead and put that in the JS fiddle for me so I don't have to redo it.
Okay.
I'm not going to export anything on my end. And I'm going to hard code, and we're just going to go for business. There we go. And let me know when that's in there. Oh, I see it. Thank you. All right, so I just need this part right here. We can meet up, right? Okay, so we'll do let. No, we'll do var at that level. Var obj, or actually we'll do var test obj, and then this here. Category casual. Oh, and then we're going to put in image, and I'll put this code in after the fact. But we're going to do image, and then we're going to do this image URL. No, crap. Is it that? There it is. All right, cool. So we're going to have this because we've already gone through it, right? Like, we know this is working. And then what we're going to do here, this is 2, this is 1. And we're going to do a node trash test. Nice. Oh, okay, it's not created yet. All right, cool. So it's going to console log that. I'm going to do a. I'm going to run a non-image, right? And then I'm going to pass it the object of test object. All right, so this will be our test here. So save that. All right, cool. And then, all right, Node.js. Let's see what it does. Sweet. All right, so that works as expected here. Let's get rid of all of that. All right, so actually, is this sweet? No, this is not really sweet. This is no. Oh, okay, yeah, that's okay. That's that is sweet. All right, cool. Try. I had to check the sweetness on that one. So object here. What we're gonna do is object, and then we're gonna right. Well, the object we passed in originally, right? We're gonna give a new value. We're gonna add a new value to it, or a new property to it. And we're gonna call that img URL, and then we're gonna assign that to new object. Take that out. So, and then finally, I want it to return object, right? So first of all, what's going to do, in this case, it's going to do, I'm assigning a variable to, or assigning, or initiating a new variable, or defining a new variable. There you go. Defining a new variable called new object, right? Or actually, let's do this. We won't call it new object because that's not correct. We'll call it image URL. And then we'll change this to image URL. So what we want is the image URL from the Axios call, right? So I know that I'm calling for business, and this is the link for the image that's coming up for me, right? All right, cool. So every time we get a new image, all right. So what I want is I have this image, right? This is where the image, this is where I go to get the image. And this is probably a horrible name for that because it's not really an image. Get image URL. And the only reason I'm doing that is because these you should define your variables appropriately, right? Or even your properties appropriately. Like, what is this actually doing? Make it kind of self-explanatory. So get image URL, right? So boom, get your image URL. It's my response type should be JSON, which we've already seen here. So it'll be true, and then the actual image will be this right here. So we're gonna do, this is our get image URL, and then we're gonna add the actual image URL, which is this piece here. Now the reason why we're doing this, or the reason why we can do this, is we're gonna do an Axios call. The method is get. The URL is object.getURL because we're referencing it within this test object here, or any object that we passed to it. So it has to at least have, in this case, it doesn't even need title, cost, or category. It just needs the get image URL. All right. Once it gets that, then we can go ahead. Oh, do I want to? Sorry, might be blurry on the other side. So let me increase the font. So once it has that, we know it's going to be JSON. It's going to return that. Then we're going to use a .then because it's using promises, right? And we can, it's a what I like to call a thenable. So it's a thenable. So then that then takes in a function. That function doesn't have to be like this. Usually now we'll write it in this fashion, right? So no function keyword, and then we're going to use an arrow. So it's just an arrow function. That's just a small thing. I'm trying to change the way I do it to make it uniform. I'm just using arrow functions all the time, right? It doesn't really change much in terms of functionality in this case. Sometimes you actually have to use the function keyword though, but in this case you don't.
Yeah, I like arrow. Yeah, I like arrow functions.
Yeah, that syntax, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forgot who said it, but there's like syntactical sugar. I think that's the guy that does Fireship IO. He's like, he calls it syntactical sugar, so we'll call this syntactical sugar, like it's sweet. So we'll do let data equals response.data, right? And then we'll return, yeah, so let data equal response.data. And we don't essentially have to do this because we kind of just did. Yeah, let's get rid of data. We don't need data. So we don't need to like do all these different object assignments like I was doing before. We can simplify it and then just do response.data.image because I kind of did that and circumvented it without even freaking realizing it. So we're referencing this object here, right? That is passing us. This is our data. Because if we do dot response, it's gonna have like all the server information, the initial request information. We don't need that. We just need the data. When you're using Axios, you're going to do the response object, whatever it is, and then the sub property or the property of that response object called data. And then in this case, we're going to go even one step further, and then oh crap, sorry, we're going to go one step further and get the image property out of that. Okay. All right. So then it's going to return that. And then essentially when it returns it, since we awaited it, it's going to wait for this to resolve. It's going to resolve that promise first before it runs any other code. In this case, it's going to await, assign the this value here from the thenable, and assign it to image URL. All right. Now I'm going to add another key or another property to my object, my original object that I passed in, and then it's going to equal image URL. Then from there, I'm going to return object, right? And then when I console log it, it should give me my full object. All right, so let's go ahead and save that. And then let's go ahead and run it. See what we get. Takes a little while. Oh, hold on. Should take a little while. So, but this is what happens. So, oh, this is just something on my end. Sorry. Oh, that didn't return anything. Oh, goodness. Image URL. Dot response dot data return object. Image URL. Oh, that was wrong. I need to return. I need to return this response.data image. There we go. Still wrong. Response.data.image. Return that. That gets assigned to image URL. Then image URL return object. I might need to like console log it in this or something. I don't think so. I think I can get away with it like this. Image URL, so that's good. Get image URL, that's good. No. What am I doing wrong here? Response.data.
Yeah, shouldn't we be using I mean, you have to use Postman to test it. That way it actually pulls from the actual URL instead of using the test object.
Well, test object, we pass that because it has the image URL that we need, which is this here for this. But if you do what you say here, we'll just do it like this. Get that. And then we'll do another get. Goes here, send. All right, cool. So it gets it. Let's see what I did here. Let data response.data return object. Why did that even work? What did I do wrong here? Yeah, because I was console logging it here. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why it's not returning anything. Oh, I see. All right, so if I return it, right, and it's doing that, I need a console log down here. That's why it's not returning anything. So it's doing it, it's just not returning anything to output. Oh, crap.
Well, yeah, it just wasn't output, but it was working correctly, though. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this right here, we have... Oh, so what we'll do here, since it's an async function, we'll make this a .thenable. So we'll do .then, because it's returning a promise here, since it's an asynchronous function. So we'll do response. We can just redo response, and then we don't in this case we don't have to actually have. Since it's just only doing one thing, we don't actually even have to put the arrow in there. That's just a little bit of a shorthand there. And then we could do console log response. Okay. Am I an idiot here? Like what? I thought you can get away with. Oh, maybe we can get away with what's it called, not putting the curly braces. Yeah, we can get away not put the curly braces, but we do got to put the arrow in there. All right. But yeah, that's it. So any questions on that? I know I just said like, yeah, that's it, like it was nothing, but essentially what we did at the end of it is it was a thenable, but we had to wait since it was a promise. We had to handle it in an asynchronous fashion, meaning
Okay.
either we have to wrap this in an asynchronous function that does an await to this function here, or we do a that then, or we do like promise dot resolve or promise dot resolve or promise dot reject or promise dot resolve, actually not reject, but we'd have to find some way to resolve that promise. In this case, I did a then or dot
Yeah.
then, and
But
then it's going to take the
I'm probably
return.
still gonna have to change some of that probably. Cause this is just, so I'm going to be implementing this in the, is this going to work? That's not going to work just the way it is in the,
Yes and
in the
no.
event.create, in the event.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no, because essentially in your event.query, a lot of your stuff will happen in the then. So you have to nest it within the dot then once it resolves this function here. So once it resolves this, then you can do all your stuff in here. So you just have to rewrite it and nest it within this. Let's get this fiddle in here updated. All right, cool. So essentially what I expect yours to look like is something like a so. Let's comment that out. Yours is going to look a little bit different. Actually, I do a dot then like this. This is usually how I write the dot thens myself personally. And then do stuff here. Right? So this will be like, all your res.sends and what have you. All that should happen in here because now we've gotten, the image URL and everything. We've passed it the test object, which is this is going to come from the query or the result of a query. And then once it's resulted from that query, then we're going to put it into this function so we can actually get the proper image. And then once you get that proper image, once it resolves everything, now we're going to go to the dot then, and then have the response and then do stuff here with that response. But essentially, it has to wait for all these things, the preceding steps to complete, and then it goes ahead and does stuff.
Okay, so I definitely need to have all this in a separate file by itself then. Sounds like.
Up to you, but yes, that would be cleaner. To give you a direct answer, that would be cleaner to actually separate all these things in different files and then just do a module.export from there. And then when you do a module.export, this is the function you're going to call, right? So like you define all this in another file, everything looks pretty, cute, whatever. Actually, okay, sorry, let me get everything in here for you. There we go. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and comment this out, do a multi-line comment. And of course, you just comment, what you need here. So this is the test string. And then you'll do a module.exports. Now, for me, I usually do my exports like this if I'm doing like multiple things, but you don't need to. But this is how I usually do it. Because I usually just give myself room to do multiple exports. All right, so then there we go. That should be it for that, I think. Yeah, exports is. I always get that. I don't know if it's like export or keyword or exports. I think it's export if you're just doing one function, and exports if you're doing multiple. But yeah. So essentially, this is how you really should look. So this is test run of function test object represent what is pulled from DB. So essentially, even this right here, you'll take out. Like that shouldn't be in there, right? But essentially, these should be the only two things you have in there, is calling Axios, and then after
basically
that,
mimicking the model, correct? That's basically
mimicking the model. This is a controller code.
Yeah, that test object.
Oh, okay. This is mimicking the model. Yes. Yeah. This test object is mimicking the model. Correct. Because this is mimicking the model after you've already made your change and put in the get image URL.
Mm-hmm.
And already result, like, you know, you've already, like, you see this casual here. That should be casual. Something like that. If I was to, like, you know, make sure it's correct. But this is what's saved to your database. And this is what you're going to call, and then pipe it into this function like so. And I mean, you can even do it like where it's just saying URL, and then when you pass it, because you could do anything you want. Like I can see how it says test.object. I could do get image image URL, and I could just do it directly. And then where it says this here, just put URL. Like literally, that's all I could. Like I make that little small change. But I don't want to do that because I'm actually referencing the object here. So, but you can do little things like that. And then, yeah, there we go. So copy and paste this. This should be a good starting point for you so that you can figure out the rest of it.
I'll be able to figure out. I should be able to figure it out. This is a lot. Yeah, I appreciate it, bro, because, yeah, I definitely.
Now, were there any questions?
I definitely have to shoot your son for this one. Goodness.
No, don't worry about it.
You don't save me with this.
It's content, man. I get paid off of the likes. I'm just playing. You're good though. If you want, great, I'll take it. But you really don't have to, bro. It's like I enjoy doing this stuff and helping my brothers out. So with this though, do you have any questions on what we did here in terms of like breaking this down, why this is here? Literally all the stuff that is not commented out should be in your image.js file, I think it is, or image something.js.
Mm. All right.
And keep the JS fiddle if you can, if anything, or make an account with it.
I'm gonna keep it. I'm definitely gonna keep this. Actually, I definitely don't got all of it. I'm gonna keep going over this for a minute because I never messed with the Axios. I kept beating my head over with the request, and I wish I probably would have just started with the Axios. I actually started to. That's what tripped me out when you was talking about it earlier, and I was like, man, I was actually thinking about using that too.
Yeah, I like Axios because one day I was just like, you know, why am I using XHR on the front end and Axios on the back end? I was like, oh man, fuck this shit. Yeah. All right, bro.
So you're not. I know you probably don't want to go too much in your work. So you're not really dealing with what you're building APIs from scratch.
Yeah. I build APIs from scratch for, like, you know, whatever it's the purpose is. Like for my job, I had to build an API today using ClickUp, and what it does, ClickUp has webhook functionality. So with webhooks, essentially what it will do is go to an API endpoint. Whether I think you can either do REST or GraphQL or something or probably REST actually. So it goes to a REST API endpoint, and then it sends all the data to that REST API endpoint. Then on my side, I take in all that data and then parse it and do whatever functionality I need to. So in the case of what I had to do today, is actually it was today or yesterday, but what I had to do today was take in the information. It has a special task, and then it dumps all of that information for me. And then once I get all that information, then I have to actually manipulate the ClickUp API or the task in ClickUp. I have to manipulate that and then go ahead and like make changes to a certain subtask. If you ever use ClickUp, it's like a project management tool. And with ClickUp, you have tasks and then subtasks. And then I have to take the date of the parent task, apply it to a subtask, and then change the property of a subtask custom field. And it's like a whole big JSON object that I have to make a standardized JSON object and stuff like that. So yeah, I do custom ones as needed, kind of like what you're doing. You know, like I do something like that to that extent.
Okay, yeah. So what I'm doing would be able to help in a lot of API work. Okay, so yeah, cause I know this isn't like MVC like websites. Yeah, I know it would be kind of a different structure, wouldn't it? Or was it
with APIs? No, I still do model view controller with my backend APIs, because they're still web-based frameworks nonetheless. It's you still will do model-based MVC pattern with API, because your model is handling all your database stuff. Your controller is handling all of your code that is sitting in between your database and your front end. And then your view is all your front end code.
Front end, yeah. Well, right. I'm actually doing model controllers right now.
Right. Yeah, you're doing MVC. You're most definitely doing MVC.
Yeah. So it is MVC. Okay.
And it's just split up a different way, because you have your routes. Like usually my routes are under my controller. For me, that's just you can do it any which way you want.
I actually didn't. Yeah, I actually don't. I won't be doing that again. I actually don't like splitting up the routes from the controller. I remember when I was messing around with C#, like all that was always stayed in one file.
Yeah. Like I try to keep my controller code, my middle code, the one that connects the client and the server side. I try to keep that all in the same place. I'm still working out my quote unquote ultimate structure in terms of my projects, but for the most part, that's how I do it now. But all right, bro, I'm gonna end it here.
I'm gonna let you slide. Yeah, I appreciate it, bro.
I'm gonna go ahead and chill out for a little bit, man. Take my break, because it's like a 3-hour stream, but it was good, man. I appreciate you coming in, bro, and asking these questions.
Yeah, I actually I missed Black Brain Trust doing the tech stuff. I mean, they're still doing strings complex and all, but Mike, we really ain't been over there too much. I don't know what's going on with them. But
yeah, I'm not sure either.
I missed them. You know, that was kind of like my default for tech stuff.
Well, you can also check out like Keep It Techie stream. I think he just actually had Gabe on there. And he interviewed Gabe, or Gabe A. So he's a good place to go to for that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. I try to do a little bit of the coding stuff and really get involved in, really get involved in like the quote unquote dirty work. If you will.
This nitty gritty right here. Actually, I don't think nobody else really dives into the nitty gritty not like this.
I do it real slow and methodical. That's for sure. I don't have like these projects like already done and all this other stuff. It's like, nah, man, you're watching me screw up live.
Yeah. All right, definitely. You said you're gonna be up tomorrow?
Yep, I'll be up tomorrow at 9:30, and we'll be continuing on. What I'll probably do is focus more on the code. I probably won't take any problems unless we do it like another time or something like that, so I can actually try and get through some of this code and figure some of this stuff out. But I'm gonna chill for a second and get back on this, and then I'll probably have some progress by tomorrow in terms of like my project.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. All right, yeah, I check you out. I definitely be checking you out tomorrow. Hopefully, I have yeah, I have all this done. This as long as if I can get this done, yeah, I'll be able to take a breather for a little while. But
Yeah,
this was
man.
yeah, this is like the main kind of like the main course, so to speak, for right now.
Yeah, man. Make sure you're taking your mental breaks, man. Don't sit there and watch this crap all damn day and look at it. You got to take those mental breaks, little 15, 20 minute, 30-minute code sprints. Get in the zone, get stuck on something, work through it. If it doesn't work after 15, 20 minutes or so, get up, walk away, take a nap if you can, what have you, and then chill out and get back to it. But don't get so deep into the shit, man, where you can't even see your damn way out, and get frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Alrighty, bro. As for everybody else that's listening to the stream, I appreciate you guys joining us. And if there's anybody else that has questions like this, definitely want to give the floor to you guys. Maybe even have like a special day for that stuff if we get a lot of requests eventually. But Richard has used me once again, which I do appreciate, and I'm here for that, guys. And I want to make sure that, hey, you guys can use me, and I can be a source of information and actionable intel for you, so you can see how it's done and how we actually solve these problems. But as always, thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys. Good night.
Good night. Peace.